Hello everyone, this is Asra Sultana, Assistant Professor, Triple Department, working in ISL Engineering College. Today we are going to see about the two-area load frequency control, and also we are going to see about the pool operation. So practical point of view, problems of frequency control of power pools, or we can say interconnected areas, will be important than those of isolated areas. So many advantages can be derived from the pool operation, and they can be summarized as follows. So instead of working on isolated area, we are going for a two-area control system, okay, or we can tell it as a pool operation. So what are the advantages of pool operation? First one is, under normal operating conditions, each pool member or control area should strive to carry its own load, except such scheduled portion of the other members' loads as have been mutually agreed upon. So under normal operating conditions, each pool member will strive its own load. Second one is that each control area must agree upon adopting, regulating and control strategies and equipment which are mutually beneficial under both normal and abnormal conditions. So each control area must adopt a regulating and control strategies which are useful for both normal and abnormal situations. So the advantage of belonging to a pool are particularly evident under emergency conditions. So during case of emergencies, so this is quite advantageous. The pool operation is advantageous during emergency conditions. So you can expect a 2-mark question. What are the advantages of pool operation, or what is pool operation, in your exams. Now let us see the two-area load frequency control. So extended power system can be divided into number of two-area load frequency control areas which can be interconnected by means of tie lines. So what we are doing here, instead of an isolated area or a single area control system, we are going for a two-area load frequency control system, and all these areas are interconnected to each other through tie lines. So without loss of generality, we have to consider here two-area case which is connected by a single tie line. Okay, these are two areas. This is control area 1 and control area 2, and they are connected to each other through a tie line. So now the control objective is to regulate the frequency of each area and to simultaneously regulate the tie line power. So what is our intention here? To regulate the frequency and to regulate the power. So as in case of frequency, proportional plus integral controller can be installed, which is giving us the zero steady state error in tie line power flow as compared to the contracted power. So proportional plus integral controller we have seen in the previous classes. It is conveniently assumed that each control area can be represented by equivalent turbine, generator and governor system. So we have to take into consideration the governor model, turbine, generator model. So all these three combines will constitute a control area, and we have to consider here two-area control system. So symbols used with suffix 1 will refer to area 1, and those with suffix 2 will refer to area 2. In an isolated control area case, incremental power delta Pg minus delta Pd was accounted for by the rate of increase of stored kinetic energy, and increase in area load will be caused by increase in frequency. So tie line will transport power in and out of the area. We can write this power transported out of area 1 as P tie 1 equal to mod V1 mod V2 by x12 sine of delta 1 minus delta 2. So what are these delta 1 and delta 2? These are the power angles of equivalent machines of two areas. For incremental changes in delta 1 and delta 2, incremental tie line power can be expressed as delta P tie 1 per unit equal to T12 into delta 1 minus delta 2. So what is this T12? So we are writing in this equation T12 here. T12 is nothing but mod V1 V2 PR1 X12 cos delta 1 minus delta 2, which is nothing but the synchronizing coefficient. Since incremental power angles are integral of incremental frequencies, we can write this equation of delta p tie 1 per unit equation as delta p tie 1 is equal to 2 pi T12 integral delta f1 dt minus delta f1 dt. So what is this delta f1 and delta f2? Sorry, this is delta f2 dt. Delta p tie 1 is 2 pi T12 integral delta f1 dt minus delta f2 dt. What are these delta f1 and delta f2? Delta f1 is incremental frequency changes of area 1 and delta f2 is the incremental frequency changes of area 2 respectively. So similarly, we can find the incremental tie line power of area 2, that is delta p tie 2 is 2 pi T21 integral delta f2 dt minus integral delta f1 dt. So T21 is nothing but mod V2 mod V1 by PR2 X21 cos delta 2 minus delta 1, that can be written as PR1 by PR2 into T12, that is A1 to T12. So incremental power balance equation for area 1, we can write it as delta Pg1 minus delta Pd1 is 2H1 by F1 naught dV by dt of delta F1 plus B1 delta F1 plus delta P tie 1. So all the quantities other than frequency are in per unit in above equation, and we have to take now the Laplace transform of above equation, and we are reorganizing it to get the value of delta F1 of S. So delta F1 of S is equal to delta Pg1 of S minus delta Pd1 of S. Okay, I am taking Laplace transform here, minus delta P tie 1 of S. So these three we are taking Pg1 of S minus Pd1 of S and P tie 1 of S at one place, multiplied by Kps1 by 1 plus Tps1 S. So Kps1 is 1 by B1 and Tps1 is 2H1 by B1 F naught. So when we compare it to this equation of 13th equation, if we compare, that is delta f of s is equal to delta pg of s minus delta pd of s into kps by 1 plus tps into s. So when I compare this equation with this equation, so we can write delta p tie 1 as 2 pi t12 by s into delta f1 of s minus delta f2 of s, and we can draw the block diagram also for this equation, that is delta p tie 1 is equal to 2 pi t1. First you take delta here. So Pg minus Pd minus P tie. So Pg minus P tie minus Pd, okay, into Kps by 1 plus Tps into S is equal to delta F1 of S. Okay, we are drawing the block diagram of the above said equation. So one more block diagram for this equation. For this equation 8.34 will be P tie 1 of S 2 pi T12 by S minus A12, and here it will be delta F1 of S, and this is minus delta F2 of S. So for control area 2, we can write delta P tie 2 as minus 2 pi A12 T12 by S into delta F1 of S minus delta F2 of S. Now let us see the area control error in the presence of a tie line. In case of isolated control area control error is the change in area frequency which when used in integral control loop will force the steady state frequency error to be 0. Okay. So in order that steady state tie line power area in a two area control be made 0, another integral control loop must be introduced to integrate the incremental tie line power signal and feedback it to the speed changer. So already this one we have seen in the previous classes. So what we are telling here, that steady state frequency error should be 0, and we have to give a feedback to the control loop to the speed changer so that it can set itself for the desired load or to change the frequency. we are giving feedback to the speed changer. So this is accomplished by single integrating block by defining area control error as a linear combination of incremental frequency and tie line power. So for control area 1, area control error ACE1 equal to delta P tie 1 plus B1 at delta F1, where B1 is nothing but area frequency bias. So this equation, I am taking the Laplace transform of this equation and writing area control error 1 of S is equal to delta P tie 1 of S plus B1 delta F1 of S. So similarly, area control error 2 can be expressed as ACE2 of S is equal to delta P tie 2 of S plus B2 delta F2 of S. Combining the basic block diagrams of two control areas, delta PC1 of S and delta PC2 of S generated by integral of respective area control errors, and we can obtain the composite block diagram. So let the step changes in loads delta PD1 and delta PD2 simultaneously applied in control areas 1 and 2 respectively. So when steady conditions are reached, output signals of all integrating blocks will become constant. In order to do this, their input signals must become 0. That is, delta P tie 1 plus B1 delta F1 should be equal to 0, and similarly delta P tie 2 plus B2 delta F2 is 0, and the difference of these two F1 and F2, that is delta F1 minus delta F2 is equal to 0. So taking the ratio of delta P tie 1 and delta P tie 2, we are getting it as minus T12 by T21, that is minus 1 by A12, that is a constant. So these equations, that is 8.39 and 8.41, they are satisfied only for this condition, that is delta P tie 1 is equal to delta P tie 2 is equal to 0 and delta F1 is equal to delta F2 equal to 0. So under steady condition, change in tie line power and frequency of each area is 0. So what we are telling here that under steady state condition, the tie line power and the frequency of each area is 0, and this can be achieved by integration of area control errors in feedback loop of each area. Dynamic response will be difficult to obtain by transfer function approach because of complexity of blocks and multi-input and multi-output situation. So we are going to consider only the steady condition. Dynamic response will be difficult because of complexity of blocks. Because input is also multiple, that is delta PD1, delta PD2, okay, and output is also multiple, that is P tie 1, 2 and delta F1, delta F2 and so on like that. So more organized and more conveniently carried out analysis is through state space approach, okay, time domain approach. We are going to analyze now the two area frequency control by using state space approach. Formulation of state space model for a two area system, we are going to read now. So results of two area system, that is delta P tie change in tie line power and delta F change in frequency obtained through digital computer study are shown in the form of a dotted line, and two area frequency are assumed to be identical with system parameters given by, okay, what we are doing here, we are setting the system parameters to some value and finding out the graphs, okay. That is, we are assuming the value of TSGS 0.4 seconds, TTS 0.5, TPS 20, KPS is 100, R is 3, B is 0.425, K1 0.09, 2 pi T12 is 0.025. So modern control theory is applied. So this is a optimal two area load frequency control case now. So in this optimal control, two area control, modern control theory will be applied to design an optimal two area load frequency control for a two area system, okay. So in accordance with model control terminology, delta PC1 and delta PC2 will be referred as inputs U1 and U2. Now in place of delta PC1 and delta PC2, we are taking it as U1 and U2. So in the conventional approach, U1 and U2 are provided by the integral of area control errors. So this is the two diagrams First diagram is showing the composite block diagram of two area load frequency control, and second one is showing the state space model of two area system. So this is the diagram showing change in tie line power due to step load, change in area 1. Okay, x axis we are taking time and y axis we are taking power. So this is the optimal case. This is a full state feedback, and dotted line is the integral control action. Okay, with integral control we are getting this output. Okay, and this is the time versus frequency graph. So change in frequency of area 1 due to step load, change in area 1. So first this is first one showing the optimal case, that is full state back, and second one is showing the with integral control action. So we have to first formulate the state model before we represent the optimal two area load frequency control design. So how can we achieve this? This can be achieved by writing differential equations describing each individual block in terms of state variables. So what we can do here, replace S by d by dt. Okay. So x1 can be written as now delta f1, x2 delta pg1. x1 is delta f1, x2 is delta pg1, u1 is delta pc1, and w1 is delta pd1. So by comparing these two figures, that is 8.16 and 8.17, we are writing here the values of x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, x6. Okay, so x1 is delta f1, x2 is delta pg1, x4 is delta f2, x5 is delta pg2, x8 is integral AC E1 dt, x9 is integral AC E2 d2 dt, and u1 is delta pc1, u2 is delta pc2, w1 is delta pd1, w2 is delta pd2. Okay, so comparing these two diagrams, we are writing the equations for x1, x2. So here you can see for block 1, x1 plus tps1, x1 dot equal to kps1, x2 minus x7 minus w1. Okay, x1 dot is nothing but here dx1 by dt. Okay, or x1 dot is minus 1 by tps1, x1 plus kps1 by tps1, x2 minus kps1 by tps1, x7 minus kps1 by tps1, w1. So similarly like that for all blocks, block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, for all these blocks which are there in the diagram, okay, we are writing the equations. For all these blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, all the blocks we are writing the equations. So x1 we are going to get x1 dot, x2 dot, x3 dot, x4 dot, x5, x6, x7, x8, x9. Okay. So combining the 9 equations, we are organizing in the following vector matrix form, that is x dot is equal to ax plus bu plus fw, x is equal to x1, x2 and so on, x9 transpose, it is a state vector, and u is equal to u1, u2 transpose, that is a control vector, and w is equal to w1, w2 transpose, it is called as disturbance vector. And we are writing in the form of a matrix. It is a 9 by 9 matrix for A, and B transpose is also one matrix here, and then F transpose. So in the A matrix, first term is minus 1 by TPS1, next is KPS1 by TPS1, and seventh term is minus KPS1 by TPS1, and remaining are zeros. So similarly, second, third, fourth, 5, all these rows we can see the number of elements which are zeros. So we got the matrix for A, B transpose and F transpose. So these A, B and F are the matrices which are defined below like this. Now in the conventional control scheme, the control inputs U1 and U2 will be constructed as under from the state variables x8 and x9 only. So U1 is equal to minus K I1 XA8, and that will be equal to minus KI1 integral ACE1 dt, and U2 is minus KI2 X9, that is minus KI2 integral ACE2 dt. So in optimal control scheme, control inputs U1 and U2 will be generated by feedbacks from all 9 states. Okay, all 9 states which we brought out from the block diagram. So control scheme will be having the inputs U1 and U2 from these feedbacks, and they are determined in accordance with the optimal criterion. Now standard form will be x dot is Ax plus Bu. So Ax plus Bu is the equation in which we can see that it will not contain any disturbance term Fw. So constant disturbance vector W will drive some of the system states, and control vector U will give some steady values, while cost function required system state and control vectors have 0 steady state values for cost function to be minimum. So for constant disturbance vector, steady state will be reached when x dot is 0. So we are going to get a relationship between x dot A and B, that is x dot dash is equal to Ax dash plus Bu dash. So this is nothing but the system model in terms of excursion of state and control vectors from their respective steady state values. Okay. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope everyone understood this two area load frequency control system. Now let us discuss various short questions and long questions which can be expected from this unit. So we are finished with the third unit is over now. So in short questions you may expect questions like what is flat frequency control, what is area control error, what is defined control area, explain the concept of control area, and some questions can be like this, that distinguish between flat tie line and tie line bias frequency control methods, or advantages of pool operation, and why the necessity of maintaining frequency constant in a network, and distinguish between flat frequency control and tie line frequency control methods. You may expect a numerical in 2 marks question also. That numericals we have discussed in previous classes. Okay. Long questions you can expect what is what define control area and area control error, derive the frequency model for isolated power system. Now one important question which can be asked is develop a model for 2 area load frequency control, write all the necessary equations. So this 2 area control today's class I have discussed. So you have to draw the block diagram and write all the relevant equations along with the matrix, everything. Okay, whatever we discussed in today's class you have to write this. This may come for 10 marks for long question. So one more question that can be asked is from fundamentals obtain the block diagram representation of single area control power system network. So single area and 2 area both are important. You may expect a long question from these topics. Okay, thank you students for watching the video. Thank you everyone.